Hello and welcome back everybody to the Yard Red Festival, the round of 16 for the playoffs, double elimination bracket as, wait, what? I guess we're gonna have to go for try number 2 for the load-in, but we're of course HeflaTV and we are just so proud to present to you xGame versus Moscow 5 in this best of 3 series. We're gonna have game number 2 if we actually get the load-in. Game number 1 was just all kinds of crazy 3-2-2 throwing action. They were just really having a throwing contest, there's no way around this. But I am Coucher, and once again I am joined by Grandis V. How are you doing, and what are your thoughts on the last game?
That was crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a game that was decided more by your mistakes than by your good plays. Like, it was so close. I've never seen a graph that actually looked like that. It was up and down the whole time. Just after they win a team fight, it's instantly, oh, we can go into an objective, and then they just lose it. And it was ridiculous. It ends with a rapier on the Medusa that doesn't win them the game, but still, either of those teams could have taken it if the execution was just a little bit different. xGame are still looking pretty strong in the series. They definitely have a chance. It is a best of 3, but Moscow 5, I don't know. I expected a little bit more from them. Although the Dota 2 lounge bets don't reflect it, I thought that they'd play a little bit cleaner. There was a lot of times that were really sloppy, and even though they were even on the golden experience, it felt like it was their game, mostly because they had that Rax advantage. But well, I don't know what to expect in game number 2. I really don't.
I just really think that Moscow 5, they had pretty nice positioning, plus just the reverse polarities, or I'm not too sure if it really was Moscow 5 positioning themselves so perfectly, or Stalcat missing his perfect openings or what. Maybe just a combination of the two, really. Really unfortunate Magnus game, but like you also said during the game, you can't just have a great Magnus game every single time. Even the best players in the world just have those off games. But it is a best of 3x game. They're definitely a team capable of coming back, and last game was also so damn even, 60 plus minutes. Looking at the moment though, Moscow 5 banning out a Death Prophet, knowing that xGame they have the first pick, and of course they themselves ran the hero, so they know exactly how strong it can be. And actually banning out a Razor as well. So we're gonna see something different for sure already. xGame though, what's actually just first pick worthy even nowadays?
Not Medusa. I don't like how they started the draft last game. Despite Medusa working pretty well for them and keeping them in the game as long as it did, it just feels incredibly greedy as far as how their lanes worked out. It worked decently for them in the very early portions of the game, but as soon as the rotations came out from Moscow 5, it was just 3 instant deaths on Medusa, one after another. They're going to start things off with a Batrider, which is a pretty solid offlaner in and of himself, although it doesn't give away anything for xGame, which I think is to their benefit. Batrider last game was fairly important for keeping xGame in as long as they did, although the targets that they wanted to go on just couldn't be dropped down fast enough with the amount of damage that they lacked, and hopefully their draft this time is going to change that and have another source of damage other than just one Medusa.
I would hope so as well, really. Just the 4 protect 1 kind of style just doesn't work out. Yes, they had some nice damage other than that as well. But for example in the late game as well, even with the Empower, yes, Bounty Hunter was right-clicking rather hard, just wasn't enough. But Moscow 5, they start with a Skyref and an Ogre. I guess aggression will still be the name of the game, and just good old Moscow 5.
Absolutely. Ogre Magi and Scarith Mage are a pretty nice supporting duo by themselves. They can put a lot of hurt in the offlane as well as roam very effectively. I'd love to see Moscow 5 get boots first on this Ogre and just put the screws to xGame at minute 0. Ogre Magi has amazing starting stats and can really trade very effectively, and with the double slows coming out from both of these heroes, it's a very easy first blood. Even on heroes like Batrider that might be fairly survivable in other situations, it's enough time for them to take down the Batrider if he's not positioned incredibly defensively. And I don't know, even the other lanes, I think the supporting duo can really work out for Moscow 5 if they do keep up the aggression, but if they don't, they'd be better off picking the likes of the Earthshaker.
By the way, the Ogre and Skyref, do you think Moscow 5 might just throw a curveball at us? Are they really both supports, or are we going to see one of those played in a core role here?
It definitely could happen. Ogre Magi and Scarith Mage core is not unheard of, although until we see the rest of the draft, I think it's safe to assume that they're supports. That flexibility is very nice for them in xGame. They're going to go for another incredibly late game hero in the Naga Siren. This is going to be their hyper carry, presumably. Again, another hero that can be played as a support, but right now, up against the Scarith Mage and Ogre Magi, the defensive songs aren't going to be as important. So I think that this Naga Siren is going to be seeing at least a decent amount of farm.
Yeah, probably. xGame, they have actually resorted to the Naga Siren rather often. It's definitely a hero that they really love to play. I think Mantis usually plays it, but Mantis actually missing at the moment. Stomash is the stand-in for him. So they have mixed up, I think, the roles just a little bit because of it. And it's actually really sad because Mantis is a really great carry player, but nonetheless, if they get the Naga Siren to actually get that rather early Radiance and kind of snowball away, so far Moscow 5, Ogre and Skyref, they have nothing to deal with the illusions really. So do you think Moscow 5, what is the best direction in your opinion? Do you just out-aggress Naga Siren and kind of try to end the game earlier, or do you just go for the heavy cleavers in the late game, something like Sven or Ember Spirit that can actually deal with the illusions?
I think both ways have their own merits. I'd like to see with these first two support picks, Moscow 5 just go incredibly aggressively. There's going to be a window where the Batrider can't do anything before 11 minutes or so, and where the Naga Siren does nothing. Her window is quite a large bit later than that. And if they're able to get a couple of early kills on both of those heroes, their game impacts are just delayed so much to where you're pretty much fighting 4v5 or maybe even 3v5 if they do the job. I'd like to see them go super aggressive, but if they're more comfortable going for something like the Sven, a Bloodlust Sven is incredibly scary.
It most certainly is. They could definitely go for it, and I like that xGame banned out the Magnus as well. Otherwise, Bloodlust plus Empower would have been really sick on any kind of carry, to be honest. Moscow 5 though, banning out two supports, Vengeful Spirit as well as a Witch Doctor. Vengeful wouldn't have been too bad for themselves, but of course they have at least supposedly their two supports already. So Moscow 5, I would also like to see them just go for the more aggressive route. Just not even try to go late game up against Naga Siren, because yes, even if you have heroes that can deal with the illusions, usually if that's the case, Naga Siren just resorts full on rat style. Send the illusion to every single lane, and well, what good does cleave do to you when there's only one illusion anyway on every single lane? So just late game up against Naga Siren is always a just fine balance to go up against. And Moscow 5, they aren't insta picking anything, so they must be giving this some serious thought as well.
And rightfully so. I'd love to see the Sven coming out from them, even though it's probably not going to be their choice to go late game. Puck the pickup for Moscow 5, all around just a solid hero that's always going to offer something in the team fights. Although the burst scale is off, Puck can snowball in his own right. I think it's one of the most balanced heroes in the game, just offering a nice amount of teamfight control. Visage, on the other hand, for xGame, is actually a very peculiar pick. Usually we don't see Visage without the Dro partner, and if it's a Dro, it's unlikely that we're going to see a core Naga Siren. And if it is a Dro, I think they're going to run into the same problems that they would with the Naga carry, that it just won't get online fast enough. And even if it does get online, without a BKB, Silence into Ogre Magi, even if there's not a multicast, the Dro is going to die. And if there is a multicast, Dro is going to evaporate. I don't know. It's still a very peculiar draft coming out from xGame. I wasn't expecting the Visage pick.
Yeah, neither was I really. I guess it does give them some early game presence for themselves as well, getting the nice burst damage from the Soul Assumption. And if you're going for that kind of 4 Protect 1, trying to buy some space for really any carry, especially Naga, of course, needs that Radiance as well before he's really self-sufficient. So, Visage Batrider might be the heroes to have, but of course Batrider, he's gonna have to get this Blink Dagger as well, and oh, Moscow 5, going for a Weaver. I guess they're like, yeah, Naga isn't gonna join the fight for such a long time anyway. Visage can't do anything to a Weaver really, because it's just so Sukuchi. And Batrider, before he gets his Blink, or even if he gets his Blink, Weaver might be fast enough, with the Skyref, Ogre and Puck helping him out. So far, I really like the pick, although I feel like they maybe could have also saved it for the 5th one here.
Completely agreed. The Weaver, I think it's a hero that needs to be seeing a little bit more play than he has been. Scales very well into the late game, and with the changes to Gemini attack, it makes his build a lot scarier. You're able to get crit on Weaver very easily now. Maelstrom Weaver is something that I like seeing personally. Yeah, I would have liked to see them delay until the 5th pick. But if that is your supporting duo of the Naga Siren and Visage, that duo can do very little to nothing up against the Weaver, and they might throw him to the offlane even.
They actually might, depending on what the xGame go for now as well. And one reason I would have liked to see Weaver picked up at the 5th even more is because xGame, they have 2 picks to follow this up now. They just have more of a chance to kind of counter pick, or at least get some solid stuns to deal with the Weaver, maybe a silence, or well, anything kind of that would help out. So we'll see. As xGame, they only have 30 seconds left, so definitely not the most of time for their decision. And since they are 1 game behind, they're gonna have to just play this pretty much perfect. Moscow 5, they have some wiggle room. Even if they lose this, they're still gonna go to a game 3.
Viper the pick for xGame. It still could be farming Naga. They're still pretty ambiguous as to how they're going to run this. The Viper pick, it's a solid enough hero, but does nothing up against the Weaver. And honestly, if that is going to be their mid lane core, I would have liked to see something with some lockdown for the Weaver at all. Right now, Weaver's looking to have a really good time in the team fights. If he has a Lincoln Sphere, he's going to be more or less completely immune. He'll be able to... They have decent tools to block the Lincolns, I should say, but that'll give Weaver at least enough time to pop the Shikuchi or the time-lapse when the Batrider's jumping in on him. So... I really don't like this Viper pick, even though under normal circumstances it's not a bad hero. The last bans, we're going to see Rubik banned out by Moscow 5, expecting a core Naga, and Centaur banned out by xGame.
Well, with the Viper, I have to agree, maybe wasn't the best of picks, but maybe their thought process is kind of like, we're going to take a hero with the corrosive skin is going to be able to just soak up pretty much everything that Moscow 5 has to throw at them. Even Weaver early on is not that scary, so... You just need to kind of survive the magical bursts, as Moscow 5 going for a Nature's Prophet now as well. And god, are they gonna be mobile. Puck, of course, with the Blink Dagger, Illusionor, Weaver with the Sukuchi. Ogre, really the supports are the only ones who are gonna have to be just smart about their positioning. All the other heroes can just come and go as they please, almost.
I don't know. This makes it a little bit less attractive to go for that core Naga Siren. Because right now, if xGame do go for that core Naga, there's not a guarantee that Naga Siren's going to be able to out-rat the King of Rats as well as the Weaver on her own. If they run it as a support, I expect them to still give it a decent amount of farm and try to transition into a core Naga, maybe not with the Radiance directly, but if they're able to do so, by all means, go for it. xGame are going to consider their last pick. Right now, I'm liking Moscow 5's lineup, and it's going to be a Crystal Maiden. We have not seen this hero at all. I know that it's probably going to be Reeves playing it here. It just feels so out of place. This Crystal Maiden's going to be food for the likes of the Puck Weaver and Nature's Prophet, and even the Scarlet Mage and Ogre. Like, everybody can kill this Crystal Maiden almost solo.
This pick... I really love Crystal Maiden as a hero, but up against what Moscow 5 has, like you said, she's just gonna be food. Like, literally any hero, like you mentioned, can go and just get rid of her without her being really able to do anything about it. At least Frostbite is gonna be some form of lockdown. Crystal Nova, decent enough up against pushes because it's a pretty nice AoE spell. But other than that, do they really need that Arcane Aura or whatever, Brilliance Aura, I don't even know what it's called. Is it gonna be good enough?
Reeves is playing the Naga Siren. This might be a farming Visage.
Wow. If that's
Unless
the
they
case,
switch around
I'm
heroes.
super pumped about this game if they really do it like that.
I mean, in ESL 1, EG was known for running their Fear Visage, and it worked out for them well, but honestly, I'm not sure if the other heroes on the board are really going to be able to do much. Wadafaka is going to be playing on that Visage, but it looks like he's going to be the support, so scratch that. Reeves is their Naga Siren player, and it looks like he's going towards the mid lane even. So it's not going to be that farming Visage, which we may or may not have been pumped about, but either way, it is xGame on the dire side with Reeves, aforementioned, on the mid Naga Siren. The safe lane tri-lane is going to be Tamash playing on the farming Viper, Equal on the Crystal Maiden, Wadafaka on the Visage, leaving last but not least on the dire Stallcat, playing on the Batrider.
As for M5, Vigos actually heading towards the safe lane on the puck at the moment, leaving Tron to play the Nature's Prophet with Kingar on the Skyriff Mage, Blow Your Brain on the Weaver, and the last one will be PGG on the Ogre Magi, and I really didn't think that they would go aggressive tri-lane with this.
This is a fine aggressive tri-lane. Like, they might not keep it an aggressive tri-lane throughout the majority of this game. I'd love to see the Skyrath Mage and PGG be more or less nomadic, just roaming from lane to lane and getting kills. The Weaver can be left pretty comfortably solo up against the xGame tri-lane. Shikuchi is pretty much the end-all be-all escape to get away from that, as long as he can survive through the Frostbite, which is the only hard lockdown that they have in this lane up against the Weaver. So yeah, I like this choice coming up from Moscow 5. It's going to benefit them, and they might find themselves a Wadafaka with the Arcane Bolt to start things off. PGG, he does have the Ignite level 1. He's going to let it loose on a Wadafaka, and they're just going to chase him down. Wadafaka's our first blood, or probably will be. They need one more auto attack. Shikuchi cooling down in 1 second. Blow Your Brain going to go for it. Wadafaka's screwed. The Arcane Bolt, if nothing else, would have killed him, and Blow Your Brain is the one to secure it to top it all off. This aggressive tri-lane for Moscow 5 already off to a very good start.
Wow, just Moscow 5, if they can just continue with the same momentum that they already got, this might be a really fast game, since if they really do snowball, especially with this aggressive tri-lane, then suddenly there will be no space for the Naga Siren, or at least in theory it shouldn't. And of course, being or having for Moscow 5 a Nature's Prophet mid lane will mean that they will want to play it even more aggressively than we would have thought initially. So this game, Moscow 5 just showing all of their colors. Just aggression has been the name of the game for... Doesn't even matter which lineup Moscow 5 has had, which 5 players, just the team overall. As Tomasz already starts the Arcane Bolt. Harasser takes it in with the Weaver right clicks as well. And xGame's lineup, the tri lane, isn't all that bad to be honest. Viper is definitely a good tri-lane hero with Visage as well, but is this gonna be enough? Another Fire Blast onto Tomasz. The Arcane Bolts are coming out, the right clicks, will they be enough? The Crystal Nova connects on all heroes and Blow Brain. Because of it, can't really go any further. But of course, equals right clicks, do little to nothing to PGG. I mean, 39 base damage on Crystal Maiden up against what? Oh, 8 armor. 8.
Yeah, just 8 armor, you know, casually at level 1. Yeah, the other lanes were not exactly what we expected, as Tron's going to be going mid up against the Naga Siren on Reeves. Nature's Prophet versus Naga Siren's a decent matchup for the Nature's Prophet, but Naga should still be able to get our farm. And down in bottom, I didn't expect Vigos to go up against Stallcat, but that's going to be the case. Currently, Vigos without any mana isn't going to be able to go aggressively. The Nature's Prophet versus Batrider matchup I think is completely acceptable for Moscow 5, but just feeling they'll get an edge with this laning orientation, as Puck is very unlikely to die up against the Batrider unless he just plays incredibly over-aggressively. He always has that Illusion Orb to get out. So yeah, for now it's going to be good lanes going the way of Moscow 5 is the Nature's Prophet 9-6 compared to 9-0 on the Naga Siren. That one's trading evenly, and more importantly, the Puck is going to be 10-2 versus Batrider this 1-1. Batrider does have the backup plan of going into the jungle, but still, Moscow 5 getting something out of all 3 of these lanes.
It's always nice if you can actually manage to lane it like that. And look, PGG and Kingar, they want to go. They are level 2 now. They have the concussive shot as well. What the fuck, should be far enough, as are Equal and Tomasz. So they're not going to get the kills at the moment. And looking at the last, it's actually 6-1 on the Weaver compared to a 5-2 on Tomasz's Viper. So top lane at least is rather even for last hits, as is I guess almost every single lane. Batrider actually struggling the hardest at the moment. I'm not too sure how or why the Batrider is struggling as hard though.
Yeah, I don't either. Stallcat should be doing better than he is currently. Vigos with the stick already is going to be able to maintain his mana. Up on top, there's going to be a contest to the pull. Coming out from the Radiant team, Moscow 5 are going to mop up a couple of these creeps. And that'll be a little bit more experience going their way, as well as some extra gold, which is always a nice thing to have on your side. In the meantime, Tomasz is farming under lane as they do go into Equal with the Silence as well as the Fire Blast. Equal is almost going to die straight after that. Will they be able to get this kill before anything else happens? King R falling very low to the Soul Assumption. One more attack from the Viper will do him in, but with the TP in from Tron, they're going to find another kill. Double kill up in this top lane for the Weaver, and now Tomasz is also going to fall a triple kill at less than 4 minutes in for Blow Your Brain. A lot of teams forget his PGG. The right clicks are probably not going to be enough from Equal. Way too slow, and now Equal might just die here as another Fire Blast comes out. Blow Your Brain is getting blocked up by the creeps, and that'll save Equal's life. But still, it looks like they forgot that that 3v3 lane could become a 4v1. Or 4v3 very quickly with Nature's Prophet TPing in, and down in bottom of the Batrider getting soloed up by Vigos. He's going to be able to find himself another big boon in this bottom lane, and it's all going right for Moscow 5.
Wow, 5-1, and on the top lane Weaver, I mean, who needs last hits when you're getting a triple kill this early into the game? And well, I guess he answers it, Ring of Health. So Lincoln Sphere, definitely a good item up against Batrider, even against Ensnare isn't too bad, to be honest. So Moscow 5, man, can they keep up with this? This is the question. And of course, in 6.82, you can get an early good lead, but you have to just maintain it without giving too much away then.
Yeah. And good news for xGame, Reeves, in the absence of the Nature's Prophet, has been able to farm and hasn't been pressured very much by rotation. So that's nice. I'd like to see Moscow 5 change that up, however. King R as well as PGG can definitely kill this Naga Siren very easily if they're able to find the real one. And I'd like to see them at least try. The Weaver doesn't really need much more in this top lane to really be effective. He'll still be able to get his levels if nothing else. And with the Perseverance already on Blow Your Brain, he's going to be sustained just solo. They're probably going to want to get a little bit more out of this top lane, potentially kill off Wadafaka or Equal once more. But honestly, this Naga Siren's eventually going to be a problem as they do go aggressively with the puck rotation. Vigos is going to be able to get a nice Dream Coil, and now Tomasz, TPN, it's all 5 heroes from Moscow 5, and they're going to find a double here. And Tron is going to pick up both of those kills, 7-1 our kill score. They're leaving the Naga Siren unchecked, but they'll be able to take care of her very easily. Nagasire's not going to get online for at least another 10 minutes. Equal, the only survivor up in top.
And actually, Tron, he went for a bottle. Nature Prophets, even if they are mid lane, usually do not pick up a bottle. I think I haven't seen it all that much. But that will help him sustain with the Nature Call. Actually, I thought they were probably going to go for the push. Not the case. Going back to the mid lane. I guess he wants to make sure that Reeves doesn't get too cheeky in the mid lane here or get the tier 1 tower or something, because the towers definitely give unnecessary global gold to a team with a core Naga Siren. And Tron gonna room control as well. Never mind Stalkat, gonna snatch it before him. And is he baiting this out? He might even go for the kill onto Tron, to be honest. Tron has a TP, should be able to use it as well. Stalkat doesn't have the lasso, nor does he have the flame break. Never mind Tron, face boots, he's gonna be fast enough. But top lane King R with the invis, oh god.
This could be problematic. They do catch eyes on the King R. He's going to be stunned up, but not before Equal is going to be dropped. They will Soul Assumption down the Skywrath Mage, but now they bring in Vigas as well, as What the Fuck is being focused on. The right clicks are going to be too much for him to handle. He gets one more Soul Assumption before he dies. PGG under tower is taking too much damage, turning for Fire Blast. He is going to fall, and they're not able to get the kill on Tamash, and now Tron in a bit of a pickle here, as he does not have a TP available. He's going to be lassoed into the fire and the flames, as well as with Tamash right-clicking him down. Tron is going to fall, and just like that, the 3-2-2 is real again. xGame are going to find quite a big boost of power as their lanes are being shuffled around. Blow Your Brain, if he was there, that might have been a different engagement, but they've decided that the Weaver would be better off farming solo safe.
That was definitely really weird. I mean, Weaver is one of the better heroes to actually dive under tower like that, especially up against Viper. Just Sukuchi away if things really get heated. He wasn't level 6 yet, which he now has, so even easier with the time lapse to do that. They gave away so much, to be honest.
TP still bottom.
Oh man.
No, gonna be cancelled. Too far away. Just scaring the living daylights out of Wadafaka, and even under tower, like, Blow Your Brain doesn't have a care in the world. He's going to be grave chilled up and needs one right
sniping coming. Tron, he comes in, one right click, he needs 2 more, he's gonna get them as well.
It has the empty bottle. That's Nagasiren's bottle down for 2 minutes. 3 minutes, in fact. Wow. I didn't expect him to get that, but Tron snags it out from the nose of xGame, and Moscow 5 get another boon in the gold department. What hasn't gone wrong for xGame? They get the one fight up in top, but that's only one fight. And even with the comeback mechanics, it's not enough to completely turn it on its head. This Crystal Maiden is without boots, going on a very difficult warding mission with only 280 movement speed. Equal is sluggishly waddling along, picks up a regeneration rune that does nothing. So yeah, it's still looking great for Moscow 5. The plan for xGame is to wait until Reeves gets his item, and without the bottle, that's actually going to slow down his farm by quite a bit, as he's not able to spam out the Riptide and the illusions as easily. It's not pretty, but it's not over until the Naga Siren has lost the entirety of their base.
Yeah, it's definitely so. Naga Siren is that magical hero. Unfortunately, Viper isn't kind of a powerhouse, so even if this goes really late, I think Moscow 5 still stand a solid enough chance. If they get something like double Mjolnir, maybe one even on the Weaver, possibly with one on each Prophet or something like that. But we'll see if it even gets to that stage. We're still only 9 minutes in, and Reeves, he's nowhere near just getting his Radiant stun, not even the Sacred Relic, of course. Yeah. So Moscow 5, they have still a pretty strong opening to try to deal with the Naga.
I want them to kill this Naga Siren, though. Like, I don't see why they're not doing it. Reeves is able to at least get the CS in mid. He backs off for the Aquila, and the Radiance is going to be a little bit delayed. But honestly, this couldn't be the problem.
Lane, Tomash gonna get slowed down by the Ignite. Gonna get sprouted up as well. Tron, he's everywhere pretty much on the Nature Prophet. Fire Blast comes out. PGG not level 6 yet, although this skill definitely will help out in the right direction. And Viper Strike, they even got it on cooldown now. So next time they dive within the next 70 seconds or so, they're gonna feel a little bit more confident.
Yeah, Weaver is going to back up for the power treads after getting the Perseverance first. Down in bottom lane, Blow Your Brain's having the time of his life. You can't really ask for much more on your Weaver. 44 CS at 10 minutes in, and more importantly, being involved in 6 kills and taking the last hit on 4 of them. Crystal Maiden needs to be so careful. Equal, still no boots, is the easiest hero on the map to kill. Is Tron down in bottom. He went deep for a dive onto Wadafaka, but now he's going to be punished for his insolence as he's lasted under tower between Tamash as well as Tron and company. And they'll be able to take
Equal,
him down.
Ignite, silenced up, one more Arcane Bolt. Never mind PGG. With that club smack, we'll get the kill. Just all out aggression, and on the bottom lane as well, Blow Your Brain. He actually time-lapsed away and left Tron to die there, kind of.
I mean, what are you supposed to do? You can't really stop that from happening. Blow Your Brain can still farm very effectively in here, although there are the familiars from the Visage just had a little bit of brain fart there, but he is also going to pick up the medallion, so not all is grim for xGame. This Visage is still in a pretty comfortable position for this time in the game. And, well, the Weaver going to snag one of the familiars. That's going to be some gold in the pocket of the Weaver. And more importantly, a familiar that they're not going to have for 120 seconds.
That's actually pretty huge, but what's also huge is Blink Dagger picked up on Stalkat. I think I saw another Blink Dagger on somebody else. Oh, actually, yes. Puck gets his own as well, but Puck also has the face boots finished. And they bottled on top of that as well. So Puck still doing a little bit better. And I would actually be more afraid of the Puck at the moment than I would of the Batrider, just because Moscow 5, they're doing better as a whole.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The Glyph is going to come out as the Tier 1 tower up in top is being taken down. It is going to be refreshed as the last hit goes to the Creeps. Weaver currently pushing down in bottom, and Moscow 5 are just slowly but surely constricting away all semblance of map control from xGame. Losing the Tier 1s is acceptable as long as you're able to secure this Nagasar and her Radiance, which might be the case, but with an invis onto Vigas, that's going to change things. With the ultimate from Nature's Prophet and the TP and Reeves not going to be able to get the song. Silence comes out at the perfect timing, and Reeves not able to escape there. That's a huge death. And now the Blink Dagger, they're going to find themselves the King R. Do they have the damage? Do they stun up and multicast on Stalkat? They will frostbite him down as he's in the fire and the flames. It is not going to kill off the Scarlet Mage. Soul Assumption is going to drop him below half, but it's not enough, and PGG going to be Grave Chilled Up, also going to survive. Wins on top of wins for Moscow 5 in this game number 2.
Blurbrain gets a swarm actually onto both supports here as well. Should be an easy chase down. Illusory will not connect from Vigos. Not really necessary. Ignite onto Watafaka, got the multicast off, and they get the familiars on top of it as well. Double kill for Blurbrain. A nice tasty tier 1 tower as well. 15 to 5, we're only 12 minutes into the game. And xGame, they are just getting crushed. And this mid lane, so close with the Song of the Siren. Really nice clutch, Ancient Seal. And if he had gotten the escape, I would have kind of blamed it on Vigos because he missed the illusory orb there. But in the end, just didn't matter at all.
Yeah, what happened? Like, this xGame is not looking like the xGame from the last game, but more importantly, Moscow 5 are just making very few mistakes. There was a couple of deep dives, but even then, they're still able to get the map objectives and come out on top in the kills enough, and up in top, they find a Reeves. He's going to be slowed down with the TPM from Tron. He does have the Song of the Siren, will be able to get it off. They're looking for the silence. They have the silence, and Reeves is dead, and this is the hero that they cannot afford to lose. Vigos in the back lines is going to jump in, trying to save PGG. PGG probably not going to take down from that poison damage, and now they chase down Tomash. Tomash brought down multicast for good measure, and it's Moscow 5 just running circles around xGame.
I do have to say that PGG, he's getting quite a lot of the multicast, man. He just hit level 6, I think, before that mid lane fight, and
it's 40%. Like, it's not that poor of a chance at level 1. That buff is actually very huge for Ogre Magi, and I think that's why we're seeing him more. He's just a lot more stable as a hero. Despite getting a slight damage nerf onto Fire Blast, it makes up for the fact that you're multicasting that much more.
I guess it's true enough, but sometimes one Ogre... I'm not too sure if I casted with you or Mike, but there was a game where there was an Ogre mid, and he got like literally 0 multicast. He was the unluckiest guy ever. But PGG, I guess, needs some RNG in his life.
I suppose so. I mean, if you have the RNG to get those multicasts, why not?
Bloodstone? I hope this point booster is Aghanims rather than Bloodstone.
I think it's Ags. I think it's Ags. I love my Bloodstone on Ogre Magi. It's very good for the mana sustain, but honestly, I think it's just Tranquil Boots Soul Ring, so he never has to go back to base. And he's currently on a suicide mission, or maybe not. He doesn't get the multicast first, but the Scarlet Mage ultimate equal is dead. Yeah, the Scarlet Mage as well as Ogre can consecutively do that. Flame Break is going to bounce PGG away from the allied team, and PGG is going to be able to swagger his way back home on the Ogre, and now is going to potentially go for the turn as Vigos on the sidelines almost instantly blows up the Visage, and the Ogre Magi multicast will do it for him. My goodness, like, what's going to stop this Moscow 5 snowball? I don't think there's a way that they can actually do it. The Nagasaran is closer to the Ogre Magi than to the Weaver in farm at this point.
And another set of familiars just died as well. Even worse for the Blurbrain, Link and Sphere. Stalkat might be able to do something, but it doesn't. They need Ensnare, they need to pop the Linkens before. They should be aware that it is there. Stalkat wants to come in from behind. Come on, Ensnare, anything at all. The lasso into the Linkens and suddenly Blurbrain. He's safe. Oh no! They popped the song, but what? He cancelled it almost immediately from the background because he comes in nice 2-man illusion with the silence to follow. Couldn't get the Dream Coil, a little bit too low on mana, and he's probably gonna go down here. Well, at least gets that 1 kill, although not worth it going for 2 supports because fuck, he was just so far ahead.
Looking for the multicast on the Stalkat. He's gonna find the multicast on the Stalkat, although doesn't have enough mana to throw out his secondary spell. He's gonna Soul Ring and change that as Reeves brought down inside the Scarlet Mage ultimate. The Arcane Bolt, and PGG gets the last hit with the tick damage. Now Tomash is going to fall, and after that marathon of a game one. It's going to be a 15-minute GG coming out from xGame.
Wow, I did not expect this, to be honest. xGame, of course, they will still lack in Mantis, so might have been some kind of factor. And of course, it is a double elimination bracket, so they will or can at least potentially come back from the lower bracket as well. But Moscow 5, man, after that crazy game 1, in game 2, they just took complete hold of this game, and wow, just I'm impressed.
I am too. I think the most important thing to notice in this game is that many people are going to lose their rares because they didn't want to bet for Moscow 5. I think that's a complete mistake when you're going up against a team like xGame. The odds should not have been 35% to 65%. I think that's a critical mistake. Moscow 5 take it 2-0. Game number 1 was a lot of fun to watch, and game number 2 was just a surgical extraction of xGame's hopes and dreams. And that's going to round us out here for the Yard Red Festival for today, at least on this channel. I think we have another game going on twitch.tv/HeflaTV, if I'm not mistaken.
It should be so. Mike is casting that. It's going to be Power Rangers versus Green Squad. Also, on HeflaTV 2, we will have the Brazil game show going on at the moment, which Heflamok is casting himself. We're probably going to be joining either of those two as well. So check out our other channels, and overall, if you liked what we did, you can check out this channel, HeflaTV 2 and Heflamok anyway, follow us. As well as our social media, HeflaTV on both Facebook and Twitter, to get the latest updates about what we're casting on what channels, for what games and whatnot. So guys, just appreciate it that you came to support us, as well as the teams, as well as of course the Yard Red Festival. If you have money to spare, be sure to buy a ticket. It's only €1 or $1.75, whatever. It's for a good cause. All of it will go to the charity for the Red Cross to support the Ukrainian refugees. So check that out, guys. And Grindis, any last words?
Well, I don't think so. I think that pretty much sums it up. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you soon for some more Yard Red Festival.
Okay, guys. So check out our other channels for more Dota, and see you soon.